Morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Um, Miss Boulay, are you ready to go?
I am ready.
And Miss Crane, I think it's you. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Give me just a moment. Okay, we are on the record in the Colorado Public Utilities Commission's proceeding number 25R-0325R. My name is Connor Farley. I am the administrative law judge assigned to this proceeding. It is approximately now 11:31 a.m. on September 22nd, 2025. This remote public comment hearing was scheduled in a notice of proposed rulemaking, which will otherwise be referred to as a NOPR today, which was decision number C25-0570 that issued on August 6th, 2025. This remote public comment hearing was scheduled to allow members of the public to provide comments regarding the proposed rules. I want to welcome and thank each of you for being here and for participating in this remote public comment hearing. The goal obviously is to get the best rules possible out of this proceeding, and your participation will help with that. So let me thank you for that. And let me just say at the outset, if at any time I mispronounce a name or refer to someone by an incorrect gender pronoun, I apologize and mean no disrespect. Please simply correct me, and I will endeavor to get it right from then on out. Let me cover a few ground rules here before we jump into the meat of the proposed amendments to the rules. First of all, you can provide written or oral comments. Both will be given the same weight. The commission does not give any greater weight to oral or written comments. However, the commission does have a preference for written comments because many of us are clearer and more persuasive in our written communications than in our oral communications. But as I said, the commission does not give any greater weight to written or oral comments. Both are welcome. If you would like to provide or prefer to provide written comments, there are 4 ways that you can do so. First, you can send them by email to the following email: Dora, DORA underscore PUC underscore website at state.co.us. That's the first way. You can provide written comments also through the commission's website. The website address for the commission is puc.colorado.gov. Once you hit that page, you scroll down until you see a box labeled file a comment or complaint. And once you click on that link, you will land on a page that contains a form where you can choose or write or input the applicable proceeding number. And this proceeding number is 25R-0325R. The third way that you can provide written comments is through the U.S. mail. The address for the commission is 1560 Broadway, Suite 250, Denver, Colorado 80202. And the final way that you can provide written comments is by calling the following phone number. It is 303-869-3490. You can then leave an oral comment in English or Spanish that will be transcribed and placed in the file of this proceeding. With all of these options, you need to identify the correct proceeding number for this proceeding. And again, that is 25R-0325R. Once you do that, the commission's administrative staff will then be able to place your written comment into the file for this proceeding. If you want to provide oral comments here today, let me just give you a few ground rules that will help make this more efficient and more helpful to me. First of all, change your Zoom name to your first and last name. This is important for a clear record and so that I can call on you. You can use the raise hand Zoom feature to signal that you wish to speak. To do so, you need to click on the reactions button and raise your hand. The reactions button, this may have changed. I see that down at the bottom of the screen, there is a raise hand function or icon. So you just need to click on that. That will raise your hand. I'll be able to see it and I'll be able to call on you. Please remain on mute with your camera turned off until your name is called. If you do not know how to use the raise hand feature, you may instead turn on your video to signal that you wish to speak. If there's anybody, and I'm not seeing anybody currently, but if anybody's watching on the YouTube channel, if you want to participate by telephone, you can do so, but you will need to dial *9 to use the raise hand feature. Please listen very carefully for your area code and the last 3 digits of your phone number. I will call out your area code and the last 3 digits. Once you hear that, you will need to dial *6 to unmute yourself, and then you'll be able to provide me with any oral comments that you may have. When I call your name or phone number, please unmute and turn on your video, and then begin your comments by stating your first and last name. And to the extent you're representing any entity here today, please identify the entity. These steps are important for us to be able to keep a clear record of who's saying what and when. Let me just give you a few tips on presenting oral comments. The first one is that please remember that we have a court reporter who's participating here today, who is taking down in writing everything that's being said while we're on the record. As a result, please speak slowly and clearly. And if you don't, I may interrupt and ask you to repeat yourself or to slow down. Also, please keep in mind that any statement that you make needs to be verbal here today. If I ask you a question that requires a yes or no answer, you can't shake your head one way or the other to indicate your answer. Your answer needs to be verbal. And lastly, let me just say, let's try to avoid speaking over top of each other here today. That's important for the court reporter, again, to get an accurate transcript. The court reporter, Ms. Boulay, has a difficult time getting an accurate transcript to the extent that we're speaking at the same time or talking over top of each other. So with that, let me just cover my plan and a little bit of the history of this proceeding. My plan is merely to take any oral comments that anybody would like to make here today that are relevant to the rulemaking and the proposed rules as proposed in the NOPR. I will continue the hearing as necessary or adjourn the hearing and write a recommended decision. If I continue the hearing, we'll address that if that happens, but that will mean that we'll have another remote public comment hearing to address any issues that possibly come up here today. Whether I continue the hearing or adjourn the hearing turns in part of what comes up today and the quantity of the oral comments that we get today. So with that, let me just cover a little bit of the history, as I understand it, of this proceeding and the proposed changes here. Specifically, I understand that the proposed rules and amendments to the rules here today seek to implement statutory changes that were passed by the General Assembly as House Bill 25-1110 that was signed by Governor Polis and became effective as of August 6, 2025. As this, on the same day that the NOPR issued in this proceeding, the commission also issued temporary rules that are exactly the same as the rules proposed in this proceeding. Those temporary rules were issued with decision number C25-0572 that issued in proceeding number 25R-0326R. And again, that decision and those temporary rules issued on August 6, 2025. As I understand it, after that date, the Office of the Attorney General issued an opinion that the proposed rules and the temporary rules as proposed in proceeding number 25R-0326R were not consistent with House Bill 25-1110. The commission then issued amended temporary rules in decision number C25-0617, and that those amended temporary rules issued in proceeding number 25R-0352R on August 27th, 2025. The new temporary rules fixed the issue identified by the Attorney General's opinion. So let me just pause for a moment and ask, in particular, Dr. Fishaber, who is the Deputy Director of Public Safety, whether I have this history correct up until this point.
Oh, good morning. For some reason, my camera is not working. Yes, your recitation of the history is correct. And at this point, staff would recommend that the rules that we start from are from the current temporary rules, changing from being the state road authority only to all road authorities that are not local governments, and then changing section K to all local government road authorities. And that fixes the issue that was found by the Attorney General's office.
Okay, and thank you, Dr. Fishaber. I appreciate that. And you covered where I was going to go to next. So it's the position of the commission. Let me just restate what Dr. Fishaber just said. That instead of adopting the rules as proposed in the NOPR in this proceeding, that I should adopt the rules, the temporary rules as permanent rules, and the temporary rules as proposed in proceeding number 25R-0352R, and that was in decision number C25-0617. So Dr. Fishaber, if I got that wrong, please let us know, but I think I got it right. So that's where we are. And what I'd like to do is just see if anybody has any comment regarding what was just said. And in particular, I'll go one step further and see if anybody has any objection or any proposed changes to the temporary rules included in proceeding number 25R-0352R. And those rules were issued with decision number C25-0617 on August 27th, 2025. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody pop up, so I will assume that there are no objections to that. Let me just ask. I've reviewed those rules, and I want to propose something for any comment. um, uh, from anybody. And Dr. Fishaber in particular, I want to see if you have any thoughts that you're willing to express about a couple of proposed changes that I have. So this is I'm looking at the temporary rule 7211, subsection J. And again, this is as proposed or as included in the temporary rules that are currently in play. Subsection J states for all road authorities that are not local governments, and then it goes on from there, just to orient us. So I am thinking about a couple of changes. Let me just read it to you. I'll just read it in the entirety. Subsection J, for all road authorities, well, I'm sorry, let me start here. What I would propose for that rule, that subsection, would be as follows. If the road authority is other than a local government, comma, the total cost to maintain an existing crossing service, including but not limited to materials, labor, traffic control, railroad flagging, and any necessary permits, and I'm proposing to put a comma after permits, shall be shared equally between the railroad corporation, rail fixed guideway, transit agency, or owner of the track, comma, on the one hand, and the road authority, comma, on the other hand. So I've added and changed a few things here. The first change would be the first clause, which currently reads in the temporary rules for all road authorities that are not local governments. My proposed change would be if the road authority is other than a local government. So that's the first change. I would be proposing to place a comma after and any necessary permits. So between permits and shall, I would place a comma. I would place a comma after towards the end of the sentence or owner of the track. So I'd place a comma after track and then insert on the one hand, comma, and then it would then go on with and the road authority as written in the rule, but then I'd put in a comma and then say on the other hand, period. Does anybody have any thoughts about those proposed changes to what is now listed as temporary rule 7211 subsection J? Dr. Fishaber, go ahead.
Those changes are acceptable to staff.
Okay. And so, I mean, my reading of the House bill and now the statute and what we're trying to do with this rule is that, well, just as I said, and I think this makes it clearer, when it says shall be shared equally between the railroad corporation, rail fixed guideway, transit agency, or owner of the track, it's just one of those, whichever one applies. They are going to be sharing that entity is going to be sharing with the road authority these total costs. Dr. Fishaber, was that the intent of staff as you understand it?
Yes, it was.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I see Ms. Jordan has just popped up. Why don't you go ahead?
Yes,
and
hi.
welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Josephine Jordan, and I am in-house counsel for Union Pacific Railroad. And definitely we appreciate and acknowledge the edits that you've made to the proposed rules. But Union Pacific would not be able to provide, confirmation or status with regards to those edits. We would need time to confer back and have received the, notice for these changes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think I understand. So bottom line is you can't take a position on that today. You need some time. You need to be able to, would you like to see them, Miss Jordan, in writing?
Yes,
Or-
our preference would be, thank you, Your Honor. Our preference would be to be able to see those in writing as proposed additional edits to what was sent out before. Like I said, I know I have conferred with our internal experts, regarding the rules that as they were presented, and we were able to come to a consensus without opposition basically to those rules. But with those additional changes, I would need to go back and confer with the internal stakeholders.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Jordan. I appreciate that. Let me just go on to subsection K because I have one proposed change there too. So as to subsection K, I would propose to replace the initial clause, which reads for all local government road authorities. I would propose to replace that with if the road authority is a local government. That's the only change I would propose to subsection K. So let me first turn to Dr. Fishaber and ask whether you understand number one and number two, whether what the position is of staff with respect to that.
Staff it finds those changes acceptable, and yes, it does get to the intent of what we were looking for.
Okay, and let me just ask you, Dr. Fishaber, whether staff has a position on whether these changes I'm proposing improve the proposed rules. And maybe you need to see them in writing as well, and that's an acceptable answer.
Based on what you've said, I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It could make it a little bit better from a readability standpoint. That's
Okay.
that's where staff would be.
Okay. All right. So does anybody else have any thoughts, comments that they'd like to make today regarding the proposed changes to the rules, not only in the NOPR, but also the new changes that I proposed? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody popping up. So here's what I'm going to do. I don't have anything else to cover at this time, but I'd like to give anybody who may be joining a little bit later during the lunch hour the opportunity to join this public comment hearing. So I'm going to take a recess until 12:15 p.m. It's now 11:54 a.m. We'll be in recess until 12:15 p.m. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Boulay, are you ready to go?
I am ready.
And Ms. Crane?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, we're back on the record in proceeding number 25R-0325R. Before we took our recess, I had proposed some changes to the proposed rules or rule changes included in decision number C25-0617. I had asked for any comment regarding my proposed changes and heard a couple of comments, and I want to open the floor and provide an opportunity for anybody to provide any further oral comments regarding the changes that I proposed to the red line rules in decision number C25-0617. So I'll pause and see if anybody has anything they'd like to say. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody who wants to make any further oral comment. So what I'm going to do is I am going to continue the hearing. I will issue a written decision in the interim before the continued remote public comment hearing with my proposed changes. And I will give opportunity for written comments regarding my proposed changes. And then we'll have the continued public comment hearing, remote public comment hearing, at which anybody will be given the opportunity to make any comment regarding anything relevant to the rulemaking, including my proposed changes. So my plan is to continue this until November 19th at 11:30. I'd like to be able to do it earlier, but I just can't, given my schedule and the schedule of the commission. And like I said, in the interim, I'll issue an interim decision that will include my proposed changes to the proposed rules as proposed in decision number C25-0617, which is the NOPR in this proceeding. That's my plan. I'm going to pause again and see if anybody has any comment regarding what I just said or regarding anything that's relevant to this proceeding. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody pop up who wants to say anything. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this remote public comment hearing until November 19th at 11:30 a.m. and thank all of you for being here. And I will see you on November 19th. Thank you. We are continued until then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.